music of the Marvel Airs. I like to play these old records. That Hammond B3 crackle is kind of is right in there with the birds when you're becoming awakened in the morning, Sunday morning. I wake up with the birds to prepare things for y'all. It's a beautiful time. Walter Parks here. This is Hymns and Hollers. Things are looking up for me. Tomorrow I start moving this finger here. I'm not shooting you guys. I'm not giving you a finger. Well, I am giving you a finger, but not the one that means so many dark things. This is my ring finger that I broke, or not broke, but I pulled the muscle on, tendon on 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, and I had 2 surgeries on it, and I'm finally going to start bending it tomorrow morning and in physical therapy. And that's really been the catalyst for my coming to you every Sunday morning with the Hymns and Hollers show, because I couldn't play music and I just, or couldn't play it with these fingers. So I wanted to spin some discs and talk about things that have been happening. Let me get a much better view for you on the computer. I wanted to, well, that's not what I wanted to show you. Yes, isn't this nice? I'm sure you've all seen it. This is a shot of the Earth, Earthrise. I think they titled this from Artemis, where that's going to be kind of my theme for today is the heavens, if you will. Human beings have for a long time thought of the heavens as associated with what becomes of us when we pass away. And you think, when you go out in the middle of nowhere and you look up to the stars, how many of us just have this programmed understanding, if you will, that somehow when we pass away, we're just going to be floating around up there, or all of that's going to make sense? To me, that doesn't make sense, but it's still part of my programming, as are many things that I'm beginning to question at this point in my life, and some have been, the questions have been with me forever. But anyway, I'm going to start the show off with a little piece that I did a couple of years ago. I'm not completely satisfied with this, but the guitar has a little bit of a distorted sound, and I wanted to do my own thing with Across the Universe by John Lennon, and that's a hard song to do a new version of, and I know so many guitar players have done it, Bill Frisell and so on, and I wanted to, and I tried to do it a little faster, and it just didn't sit right with me. I ended up playing my jazz guitar, and it has a little distortion. Some of you might hear distortion in the sound. Please know that for me, generally, when you hear distortion, that meant I'm trying to use distortion in a beautiful way. I don't know if I achieved that on this one, but I did it in this room a couple of years ago, and this is a version of me playing my old 1957 Gibson ES-175 on Across the Universe. I really enjoyed doing that. It's it's so challenging to do a unique version of something that everybody's heard so many times, and that's almost one of those songs that I got sick of when I was younger. Um, but I wanted to play that because when I was a kid growing up in Florida, we were just fascinated with space travel, and all of this was just part and parcel with being a good Floridian, like respecting alligators and rattlesnakes and hurricanes and that sort of thing. It started with the Mercury program and went into the Gemini program, Mercury being the single seaters, the Geminis, the two seaters, and the Apollo program, the three seaters, and now we're up to four passengers, I think, in Artemis. Of course, there was the space shuttle between that. But as far as the build up to moonshots, I guess Artemis is continuing that, and there's a renewed fascination. I have a good friend in Florida who is one of my main creative influences, who's recorded almost every album I've done, Jim DeVito, and he was so sad when the NASA program was when they started stopped sending rockets regularly up. I guess for budget reasons or whatever. But anyway, I just wonder in Florida if there's this sort of renewed, almost patriotic feeling that the rockets. It's a prideful feeling, you know. You say, well, that's us. We did that. I remember my father and I would get up really, really early. Anytime we could see a night launch, and they were spectacular. The Apollo launches all the way from Jacksonville, Florida, and we lived 2.5, 3 hours away from Cape Canaveral at that point. And they would just light up the sky just magically, and you couldn't help but feel prideful. But there's a second side to that, of course, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But when I was a kid, I want to show you a picture of a model that I built. Excuse me. This was a Revell model that they started producing in 1969, and it was of the Saturn V rocket. It was almost, I think they advertised it as almost 4 feet tall. And I worked on that thing for so long. And I still have the capsule. I wanted to go and look for it this morning, but I was afraid to go look through old boxes that I would go down so many rabbit holes and get distracted. But how many of you all saw this model as a kid? How many of you all actually got it, built the rocket? I mean, I certainly did. And I kept that box around well into my teenage years. And so in 1969, I would have been 11 years old. That's when the Woodstock Festival happened. And the man with whom I would later play, Richie Havens, opened up the Woodstock Festival. And I was also in that same year fascinated with the space program. But back here on Earth, there's those who believe that the Earth turns because of some divine providence, and then there are those of us who, like the stylistics, believe that people make the world go round. Trashman didn't get my trash today.
smoking in their easy chair, on a fat cigar without a care. But that's what makes the world go round, the ups and downs of carousel. Changing people sails around, go underground, young man. People make the world go round. But that's what makes the world go round, the ups and downs of carousel. Changing people sails around, go underground, young man. People make the world go round. People make the world go round. People make the world go round. People make the world go
Little 5/4 there. Or I guess you could say it's in 9 in that point of the song. However you want to look at it, there's always some way to put your mind to something. But I want y'all to hold with me just a second. This just keeps looping. And let me ease out of here. I never have realized it in this song. How many of you all, I'll bet you Stephen Baker noticed this. There's a little part in here that I'm sure inspired Donald Fagen of Steely Dan. Check it out. Let's see. Here it is. Woo! That's Asia. Bum, 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 bum. It's just done with the vibes. It's the same textures and timbres of some of the little instrumental segues in Asia. I believe it's Asia. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But I love that about music. And I trouble myself, I torture myself when I have a new song and I'll go, I think that must have come from something. I don't want to get sued, and most importantly, I just want to be original, and it's so hard to be original. I'm working on a song right now I'm pretty much ready for. It's called Every Song Has Been Written, and I kind of rebut that notion, actually, or they say that every song has been written. But anyway, we have these notions that we just accept, and sometimes they need to be questioned. I love questioning concepts of spiritual nature, especially, and I'm very inspired to do that because of what I know, which is limited, of Jewish ideology. Jews, to my knowledge, are taught when they are coming up, when they're younger, that you should question issues especially of spiritual issues. When folks are learning the Torah and the Talmud and so on, questioning is a part of the experience of becoming a whole person, of broadening the mind and developing your own sense of original thinking. And I didn't have that when I was growing up. It was just, as a Presbyterian, it was like, accept the Word of God. Otherwise, you're just plain old non-faithful or unfaithful. And that doesn't suit me as I grow older. And I appreciate the Jewish way in that sense. I'm not, we'll just leave it at that. Now, I've got more to say on that. But speaking of questioning, I'm going to expose my ignorance here. I mean, maybe every word out of my mouth exposes my ignorance, but at least that's my overarching disclaimer. The word Artemis, I didn't know that Artemis, I mean, I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida. The only Artemis I knew of was Artemis Pyle, who played drums with Leonard Skinner. I mean, again, the knee-jerk reaction when we see the stars in a wonderful clear night sky, you think of the heavens. I thought Artemis, I knew they didn't name the rocket after Artemis Pyle, but I had no knowledge of the mythological character Artemis. Artemis was female all this time. Artemis just sounds male to me. So what's going on, folks? Turns out Artemis was the twin of Apollo. So it's very clever that they named the next moon mission after the Apollo mission, after Apollo's twin. Artemis was the purist will be able to find holes in what I'm getting ready to say, but just for those of you who didn't know, Artemis was the goddess of hunting. She had a way with animals, and she was the daughter of Zeus, and the Minoans, whose tomb I took a photograph of in Crete, and I showed you that last week. The Minoans worshipped Artemis as some orgiastic figure, and so there's this in some depictions she's winged, but she's always the goddess of hunting, mostly always associated with animals. I find that fascinating. So these are things. I feel so foolish to be 67 years old, and now only because NASA names a rocket after a mythological character, only then do I go and try to figure out. And I read the Iliad, I read the Odyssey, but I didn't retain all that stuff. It's just not needed for our lives, really. But getting back to Earth, I'm wanting to. Maybe because I'm a Libra, balance is really important to me, and maybe also because of my limited Buddhist teachings, when I think of something like the Apollo or the Artemis program, I think, gosh, there are folks right here on Earth who could really use that money. And I'm not going to I'm not going to beat that horse, but I want to juxtapose the challenge and the hoopla of going to the moon in the modern day I want to juxtapose that with just the person who feeds us all and who makes all of that possible is the farmer. And here's an old folk song. I mean, that was a leap, right? That was a real leap. But I guess what I'm saying is that I think it's important to just keep all of this in context. And it's amazing that whatever food they brought up, on that mission, all the way around the moon and back, whatever food, no matter how dehydrated it might be or whatever processing it probably came from some farm. So um, let's play an old folk song about the farm if we could. Um, this is one. If I hit the spot right, I'm hoping to get it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a song called "The Farmer Feeds Them All." It's a traditional folk song.
If you only look and see, I know you will agree that the farmer is the man that feeds them all. While the women use the snow, and they never get a no, but the farmer is the man that feeds them all. When the farmer comes to town with his wagon broken down, the farmer is the man that feeds them all. Farmer is the man, farmer is the man, buys only credit until fall. Then they're taken by the hand, then they're leading through the land, then the merchant is the man that gets it all. If you only look and see, I know you will agree that the farmer is the man that feeds them all. While a Jerry Jones is vain, he will scratch his head and whine, but the farmer is the man that feeds them all. And the lawyer will declare, will tell a lie and swear, but the farmer is the man that feeds them all. You only look and see, I know you will agree that the farmer is the man that feeds them all. Farmer is the man, farmer is the man, buys only credit until fall. Then they're taken by the hand, then they're leading through the land, then the merchant he's the man that gets it all. Oh, the doctor hangs around while the blacksmith books his iron, but the farmer is the man that feeds them all. And the preacher and the cook, they'll go strolling on the brook, but the farmer is the man that feeds them all. You only look and see, I know you will agree that the farmer is the man that feeds them all. Farmer is the man, farmer is the man, buys only credit until fall. Then they're taken by the hand, then they're leading through the land, then the merchant is the man that gets it all.
Oh, I just love that. It's bringing it down to the real thing there. I'm married into a family of, I wouldn't say a family of farmers, but a family of people who have a history of farmers, and for that matter, I do as well. My grandmother, my maternal grandmother, had she grew up on a farm in near Crestview, Florida. I don't know if Margot's family knows that, but Crestview, Florida is in the Florida Panhandle. There are rattlesnakes and plenty of heat there. And my wife's family, my dear wife Margot, her family on both her mother's side and father's side had farms in Iowa. So I really love going up there, and I think Margot's father wanted me to take an interest in farm life, and I just knew that I wouldn't be able to sustain that. I didn't have a passion for it. I have an intense respect for it, and I used to go to the farm in South Carolina on my father's side, and there was a dairy farm there, and I would get to milk the cows and just look at that life and get up real early, and I did respect it so much. It was hard, honest work that you could see the fruit of by just going to the grocery store. I mean, that's a silly statement in a certain way, but most kids don't have those sorts of connections, and that's one of the things that's really bugging me right now with how we're spending our money. And I'll get into that in a second, but there's, people say do your own research when you complain about the government and so on, and I have done a little research. And I'm going to continue to do more, and I want you guys as listeners who I respect to correct me if I'm wrong on some of my figures and so on, but we'll get to that in a moment. I wrote a song about pre-COVID that's going to be on my next solo record, which I hope to start doing this year. I'm sending this one out to Kim Roberts. She's a friend and fan of mine down in Florida, near Winter Haven, where I'm going to be playing next month, by the way. I don't know the date, but it's a Sunday. And at the Dairy Down in downtown Winter Haven. But anyway, this is a song we were prompted. I went to Wisconsin, and Pat McDonald has a writer's retreat up there called, I think it's called the Melody Music Hotel in Sturgeon Bay. And we gathered with about 40 writers, and myself and a couple of other gentlemen kind of came up with this song. I was really, here's the way I write. If I'm co-writing, I have a discussion with my co-writer. This is just the way it's evolved for me, and I would love to do this other ways, but this is just the way it happens for me. I'll sit with co-writers, and we'll talk about a subject, and I'll take notes, and we really get into it, whatever it takes: coffee, beer, wine, the potweed, whatever it takes, and I've got a long list of prompts and emotional places that I've written down that the concept of this song has taken me to. And then I say, fellas, or ladies, whoever it is, just go away for a while. And I start writing this thing. I can't do it with other people around. And this is the only song that I've ever written to where I kind of the tears came to me. And it's a song about a farm. It's a song to take it from the concerns of outer space exploration, bringing it back to the source. And it's I was looking at a photograph that a friend of mine had taken in Wisconsin, and a nice photograph of an old farm that was boarded up and so on. And I thought, geez, I just feel that. What do I feel? What do you feel when you see a photograph like that? What I felt was, regret. That was the first thing that came to mind, is this family. When you're driving through the countryside and you see an old farm that's the roof of which has given way and the sides are starting to cave in, that's the vestiges, that's the corpse of a better day, the corpse of a glorious period, the corpse of the remnants of success. And you don't know when that success happened, and then you'll see the for sale sign out front sometimes. And you just know that farm has slipped out of a family's hands. And so that's what I've written about here in this song. And this is a little video I did in Cathedral Hall in Jersey City. Once again, pre-COVID. I was just in there all by myself. I forget his name. His last name was McNamara. He passed away, but he was the keeper of that cathedral. And y'all, when you see this cathedral, at least the opening shot, know now that this has been subdivided into apartments, and it was what do they call it? Deconsecrated? Yeah, I think that's the name. It was a deconsecrated, I believe, Catholic church, and it was either tear the thing down or use it for art events, and the art events weren't able to pay for the cathedral. So they, as opposed to those two options, they sold it to a developer, and now I think it's been divided in, I believe so. My folks in Jersey City could maybe update me on that. I think it's been now subdivided. People live there. At least the bones of it are still surviving. This is a song of mine, and a couple of great folks that I met up in Sturgeon Bay. Bruce McIver was one of, Jim McIver was one of them, and Bruce Butkovic, I believe, co-wrote this. And I don't know if they've ever heard it, but we did it together in reality. This is called Try.
This will be my memory, the last I take of you. Something that I love so much, but I can't hold on to. And this is what it feels like when the fickle hand of time leads us through our innocence, and then it turns unkind. We thought nothing could affect us. We made a deal with Providence. We prayed that you'd protect us from the elements. So how can I just leave you here to die on solid land? It's a matter of foundation. It's a matter of the man. Try to keep living. Try to catch the lights. Try to keep giving. You'll be alright. He built you in Wisconsin back in 1922, as Granddad was so fond of saying no other state would do. And he had left winter's bite on another continent, and that he had to have his northern lights was no coincidence. But I feel like I betrayed you after all you've done, 'cause I will never pass you down like my father to his son. And I pray you catch a young man's eye and he paints you white again. You never know how hard I try. Good luck to you, old friend. Try to keep living. Try to catch the lights. Try to keep giving. You'll be alright. You'll be alright.
thanks again for the Cathedral Arts Council. I love making those videos. There's one of me that I played, Margot played last week, of me recording the song Doom that I wrote in honor of Jaco Pastorius. And I love that Mike McNamara would let me into that building all by myself and just let the building speak to me and let the building and the echoes of everything that took place in there, probably good and bad, just give me a recording. And it did so many times. I did a lot of tapes in there, some with Vivian Sessoms, a lot of stuff that I've never released. And at some point, I might make a record of just some of those experiences. Let's take it to church. This is Reverend Leo Daniels. I turn to him every Sunday morning generally. This is on the Jewel label out of Shreveport, Louisiana. Check this out. Reverend Leo Daniels, he's preaching about the real thing. And when we dance with the subject of space travel, I'm just always thinking about, is all of that really necessary? And I'm sure that, especially if we end up destroying the Earth, there's going to be we're going to look back and go, oh, well, we're glad we explored alternatives, whatever. But right now, it seems it's hard for me to accept that, even having come from Florida, even having been a fan of the space program when I was a kid. I looked it up. The Artemis, every Artemis mission cost about $4 billion. The cost of each flight of Artemis is about $4 billion. Now, to give you that just opens up this concept of how we spend our money in the modern world. The United States, for instance, is sending approximately $4 billion, 3 point something to Israel every year. That's just, that's, and when you hear those numbers, I'm not even getting into, is that good or bad, whatever. I'm not going there, but that's a lot of money. And what I think of, because of my Buddhist teachings, is where does that money come from? There's always an opportunity cost. There's an opportunity cost to helping a country in the Middle East. There's an opportunity cost for each moonshot. I did a little math. If you think of, if you take the statistic that on the average is about $30,000 per child per year to go to college, and let's just say that that would be, just to make it be conservative with the estimate, let's say for a 4-year college education, our government could, let's say we were going to spend $200,000 for 4 years of college. But from this point, by the time the average college tuition would be about $200,000 for 4 years. $4 billion divided by $200,000 is 20,000 kids. 20,000 kids could get a free education, 4 years for that. It's, I don't know. What am I saying? I'm just saying it's important to question. Respectfully, again, I'm applauding the Jewish tradition of questioning, where's the money coming from? What else could we do with that money? And Anyway, I it brings me back to Reverend Leo Daniels, and it's the real thing he's always talking about. And when I studied accounting in college, there would be this concept called the opportunity cost. In other words, it's the cost of not doing this thing that you have to be aware of. Whatever you do, there's a cost of not doing something else, and it's important to know what that cost is. Listen to Reverend Daniels. He has done a sermon, and he's concluding his sermon with a song here, and he's going to take you to a place much better than I could. Here we go.
I know, it's real. Praise God, my doubts are settled, and I know. Church over. It's real. It's real. Oh, I know. It's real. Praise God. Praise God. Now, wait just a minute. You know, as I close today, I cannot put all of my trust in my brother, because you see, my brother doesn't have control over his life. So therefore it creates a certain amount of doubt. I cannot put all of my trust in my mother. And God knows I love her. But you see, mother does not have control over her life. And therefore it creates a certain amount of doubt. And I cannot put all of my trust in Reverend Robinson, because he might get sick on me. He might die on me. So it creates a certain amount of doubt. But let me tell you one thing. Since I met Jesus, all of my doubts, 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 all settled. And I know it's real.
All right, he said it right there. He has doubts, he has questions, and but the way he handles it is just he puts basically he puts his life in Jesus. Maybe that works for you, maybe it doesn't, but I'm just letting you know that's what's going on around there. That was probably recorded in Shreveport, Louisiana in the 60s or early 70s. Kind of looks like the 70s. I want to play a song that I'm going to turn to the computer here, and this is something that I did pre-COVID again. Once again, Walter Parks. I started a sort of awakened the coals of this series, because at least for a month and a half I'm not able to play the guitar, and I really wanted to still keep in touch with y'all, still express my creativity in some way. But let me turn this way and see if I can find a song I want to play for you. This is one that I recorded. A good friend of mine, I'm just trying to remember this, Allegra Houston, who's a writer out in Taos, New Mexico, had wanted me to create a soundtrack for a song, a movie that she was doing called Good Night, Mr. Gorski, I think. Really interesting song, or a film about something Neil Armstrong said on the moon. You guys look it up. Good Night, Mr. Gorski, or whatever. Let me see if I can find this recording. There's a picture of me and Richie that I want to show you in a second. Oh, this is so unslick of me. Here we go. This is a song that the refrain of it has my good friend Dana Kurtz joining me, and this was, I think, a successful example of me taking a very popular song and doing my own thing with it, which I want to do this on my upcoming tour. It just feels ready again, and I can picture Stephen Williams playing this, but let's see if we got the levels right. Margot, you got this unmuted? Yeah, okay, here we go.
Fly me to the moon and let me sing among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, me sing among the stars. Fly me to the moon and let me sing among the stars. Fly me to the moon and let me sing among the stars. Fly me to the moon and let me sing among the stars. Fly me to the moon and let me sing among the stars.
Thank you, Dana Kurtz. If you're listening, you probably are not, but if somebody knows Dana, get word to her that Walter said thank you. I love her music, her musicality, and I love what she's brought to my life. She's, talk about a real person. Boy, she speaks her mind, and you got to respect that. Dana goes back and forth between Nolens and Vermont. She's probably heading to Vermont this time of year. Let's see, what did we talk about? We talked about moon travel, Fly Me to the Moon. We talked about the Artemis program, and we talked about the Apollo program, what it meant to me as a young boy growing up in Florida. The spirituality, what I didn't talk about is that, for me, the subtext of a moon launch, it's humbling to me, because all I think of is, I don't think so much of the accomplishment, and there's tremendous accomplishment. Imagine the teamwork and the math and the technology that all has to be just working flawlessly to make that happen. But I think also there's a humility in a moon launch, and they're making such a big deal of just, we've gone into space with this mission with human beings further than we ever have. And I just think of, I mean, this is a little bit negative, but I just think of, okay, but there's so much out there we haven't touched. Let's still keep that in mind, just like we keep in mind that the food that supplies those astronauts, that keeps them going, comes from the farms in Iowa, for instance. And we're forgetting one thing that keeps the world going round. The stylistics told us that it was just people, and now listen to what Dionne Warwick says.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. But what the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone.
such beautiful music. I was talking with Margot. By the way, my beautiful wife, Margot, produces this show. She's engineering on an old, not an old board, but an actual mixing board, keeping this thing going. And we're doing this old school. I write notes down to her. You see me do that, and she tries to put up the photograph that I'm requesting. And Margot, there was one that I wanted to. Can we do the Richie Havens broadcast from France, Lives in the Balance? Again, because maybe because I'm a Libra, almost said Leo, because I was looking at the photograph of Reverend Leo Daniels. I like to keep everything in balance. We're spending $4 billion a flight to go to the moon, and Dion says we need love. We don't need another mountain to explore. We don't need another meadow. There's plenty of cornfields. We just need love. And the stylistics say people make the world go round. Let's remember that. And I'm just saying there are a lot of people out there so bored and so feeling this sense that they have absolutely no power in this world, that they're going crazy, tearing things up on a Saturday night in the cities, and that's a big thing. Maybe if they felt some of this love and maybe if they were the recipients of some of this money for education, maybe they wouldn't need to dance on cars. I don't know. Who knows? But it's. I know it's not that simple. I know I'm just complaining here from a turntable. But I think we also have to question how we spend our money. Anyway, this is speaking of balance. This is a moment of that I'm very proud of. During my time with Richie Havens, we recorded this Jackson Browne song on the air in France. I don't remember the network, maybe Radio France International. I don't think that was it, but possibly could have been. But this one turned out pretty good. I'm playing. They didn't have an amplifier for me, so I have an electric guitar, but it's a hollow body electric guitar. It's the one I played and I still play. It's my old 175. It's over there probably from 1953. So we just put a microphone right on the F-holes of the guitar, and it sounded good. It sounds like a classical guitar or something. And so this is a song that Richie and I were working out at that point, and it was later recorded on his album Nobody Left to Crown, which was financed by the French Polydor, a division of Universal. And what a great time in my life that was to record, be a part of recording Richie's final album. But this is when we were working the song out, and this is a YouTube movie of us doing that in Paris, Lives in the Balance. Not up. It didn't work. Okay. So let's you can definitely we'll go to another thing. Let's you can just bring me back to real life here, and I think we'll close it out. This is I love doing music for film, and this is one that I may still do. A filmmaker named Nate Townsend out in L.A. Had an idea to do. He was working on a commercial, and he wanted me to do a version of "You Are the Sun, You Are My Sunshine," again, most of us, I think of that as kind of a corny song, you know, and I thought, oh, what can I do with that? And I was playing a gig that night. I got the call, and he said, can you try your thing with this song? I was playing a gig that night in Fredericksburg, Virginia, in an old barn, and oh gosh, I wish I had prepared a picture of that, Margot, but I don't have it. But anyway, this I did when I was checking the sound, and I'm kind of proud of it. It sounds a little twisted, and we'll come back and play a video after this song. But check this out. This is me playing "You Are My Sunshine." I wish we had a picture. Just I don't know what we could put up for people to watch. It doesn't matter. It's not very long. Let's listen to this. I just love doing these sorts of things in remote locations. Check it out. That's really it. But like so many of my attempts, or so many of the requests that are made of me to just see if something's going to work on a movie set or a documentary set or something, that one never saw the light of day. But maybe we'll do something with it. I'm gonna end with my new good friends, the Moonrisers. I'm so excited. Let me talk to you about the appearances that are coming up for me. Lord willing, my finger, which is this guy, you can't see it. It's got a bunch of scars on it and so on. They had to go into this, what they call a PIP joint, and they did surgery on it twice. And so tomorrow in PT, I'm going to move this thing for the first time. Moving it is painful, but the goal is I got to be able to get it back to straight, because I can't play the chords the way I want to on the guitar unless I can get it back to straight. So I have to be able, excuse me, to bend it in all directions. Otherwise, I have to do what I've been doing for the last year, which is just coming up with a workaround for everything, which is fine. I really like this song, and we're gonna end with this. But let me talk about the dates. Margot, could you put up that little ad that I did last week? This is I'm playing first part of May. I think we start on the 6th, no, the 7th in Stockbridge, Massachusetts at the Red Lion. Always wanted to play there. Little Norman Rockwell town in Western Mass. Then the next night, I don't have this in front of me. Oh, there we go. The next night we're playing in Beverly, Mass. And then we go to the Marial Center in New Milford, Connecticut. And then I'm ending up that run in Hoboken, New Jersey at Jim Mastro's club, the 503 Social. These are all going to be myself and Stephen Williams on drums, and the first three will be featuring Paul Frazier on bass. Ada Dyer's out on the road with Bruce Springsteen, so she can't be available. But so we're kind of taking these old spirituals and hymns in more of a rock and roll direction. It's going to be a lot of fun. And looking forward to the summer. And then I go, actually, before we leap to the summer, for the rest of the spring, I go down to Florida, my old stomping grounds, St. Augustine, Florida, May 16th. It's a festival that honors Gamble Rogers, but, and I called a real mentor of mine, Bob Patterson, recently. I said, Bob, can you suggest a Gamble Rogers song for me to do? And he made a couple of suggestions, and I listened to them dutifully. And I there's no way I can do Gamble. Nobody can do Gamble. So I'm just kind of using the Gamble style and approach to storytelling mixed with songwriting and kind of coming up with my own stuff. That's May 16th. The Florida dates are going to be all solo. And then we drive over to Winter Haven, Florida. I love the folks down there, and I love the program they put on at the Dairy Down, which is an old Graham Parsons hangout in Winter Haven. And then we move to the Florida Folk Festival, and probably going to do that solo, and which will be a change for me. For the last couple of years, I've brought other folks down. I'm going to be playing down by the river and on the Swanee River, and we're going to try to do a Hymns and Hollers show from the Swanee River, and I'm going to be pulling from a inspiration of mine. Let's see if I can find this record. I don't think I can pull it up. Here we go. I'm actually going to work up a couple of this guy's songs. I don't know if you can see this, but this is Abner J. And Abner J. did a whole record at the Stephen Foster Center in White Springs, Florida, where I will be performing. And he plays a banjo through a Fender amplifier, and he turns up the tremolo on it. It's the most haunting, just archetypical, it's just the soundtrack of Florida. And he says, this record is a true collector. I'm not playing it now because we're going to do this. I'm going to play a lot from this and also play for you live down by the Swanee River at the end of May. He said, this record is a true collector's item. It will be worth a lot of money when Abner is dead. And I'm pretty sure Abner wrote this. Abner say he is just like old Black Joe. My head is bending low. Abner is the same to this country, meaning the U.S., as Toscanini is to his country, a classic. So that's his proclamation. And the cover of the album has him kind of laying down on the banks of the Swanee, drinking from it the way he claims that he used to when he was a kid. So this album is one of the best sounding soundtracks to Florida that I've ever heard. Moving on to the summer before I close out here. So excited to have a group called the Moonrisers coming in. Let me show you the picture, the cover. It's a duo that I learned about online. They're from Detroit, and they're coming over. This is an album produced by Dan Auerbach of the Black Keys. And this is some of the most interesting music I've heard. It's banjo, again, banjo played through an amplifier with effects and everything. And this guy, Adam, is the, I forget his last name, but he's just a fantastic, one of the most creative drummers. He plays drums with drums. In other words, he'll play instead of using drumsticks, he'll play with a gourd or something. And my God, this guy is so creative. He's the most organic drummer that I've maybe ever heard. And I just love Adam Schreiber, I think is his name. And gosh, these guys are so creative. It's a male-female duo, and we're going to present them in St. Louis, and they'll be collaborating with a dancer that we've contracted with, and she's very talented. She's a student at Webster University down the street here in St. Louis. They're going to be interacting on a full dance Marley underneath a majestic 300-year-old oak tree at our Burr Oak Festival in St. Louis on July 17th. So please, y'all, if you want a trip to the Midwest, it's a great time to be here. The weather's fantastic. There's some bugs, but just bring some of that spray and you'll be fine. July 17th, Burr Oak, the concert at the Burr Oak, and let's see if I can hit this one right. I'm going to leave you with this, and these are the Moonrisers. They're going to take us out. And Walter Parks, Hymns and Hollers. Thanks to Margot Parks, my dear wife. We're going to do a couple of these concerts through the time. We're going to try to keep going through May. I think we've figured a way to do this from the road. So tell friends about us. Our listenership is increasing, and I want to know from y'all. You know, whatever stuff I said about NASA or Gaza or whatever, if you shoot holes in it, if you think I'm wrong. But let's keep it civil if we can. I'm trying to. Let's listen to this, and I'll leave you with this. Walter Parks, Hymns and Hollers. Yeah, almost got it. So nice. I'm going to talk over this because I want you to, if you want the music, just get the record. It's available online. It's called Harsh and Exciting on Easy Eye Sound, produced by Dan Auerbach. And picture this under the night sky in St. Louis. The lights are shining up on a majestic oak tree, 250, 300 years old. And then there's a modern dancer interpreting this song. And you're just thinking about what that does to you. You're not going to have your cell phone with you for a moment. And you might be thinking about the dog in the house behind the hill, which is where we are. You might be hearing Mona like you heard of her this whole episode. Yeah. I like that vibe, but I want to advance to the vibe that I really wanted you to hear. And it's a little bit, it picks up the pace a little bit. Okay. I'm going to leave you with this one. Walter Parks, Hymns and Hollers. Yeah, here we go. To me sounds like the music of a food supply, you know. Listen to the sound of that drum. He's playing it with gourds or maybe some sort of a percussion instrument that might have a bunch of Brazil nuts all strung together and hitting a drum with that. You just never know what Adam's going to do. But it leaves so much for the imagination. Again, you can just shut your eyes and just let the music take you. Some of the most exciting stuff I've heard in a long time. Also on the bill, July 17th is going to be my group, The Unlawful Assembly, featuring Ada Dyer. If Bruce doesn't take her out into the world, he might. This tour's catching on, but we're tentatively planning to have. We've never made an announcement about this, I don't think, Margot, but The Unlawful Assembly is going to play, and. Let's see, what else? What's that?
We'll let them know in 3 days.
Well, all right, we'll let y'all know in 3 days. None of this is, well, I just said it. But anyway, that's the nature of live radio. The announcer kind of jumps the gun every now and then. Y'all, thank you for tuning in. I'm Walter Parks. This is Hymns and Hollers. I think next week we're going to actually live up to our name. It's going to be a lot of hollers and a lot of hymns, and we're going to take it out of we're going to take it away from space and bring it back down to earth. Walter Parks, Hymns and Hollers. See you next week. Bye-bye.